to Beverly's Kitchen. It is me. It is Beverly Lucas. I am the host of For the Love of Cooking Fridays, where I cook delicious meals, or where I show you how to prepare delicious meals for your family, for your spouse, for your friends, for your relatives, all tasting better than the restaurant because it is homemade. I have prepared all my ingredients for everything that I'm going to make, so I prepared everything at once. Although I'm making 3 different things, I'm preparing everything. So we are making the teriyaki pork chops. So here's my pork chops. I'm letting them rest at room temperature because you never want to fry them cold. I have my flour here. My other ingredients that I have for the vegetable fried rice is some asparagus, which I've cut up. We have some bean sprouts. We have my favorite, which is some broccoli. We have tomatoes. We have some red onion that I've chopped up because I'm using this for all 3 dishes. I'm using this for the pork chops, for the gravy. I'm using this for the vegetable fried rice, and I'm also using it for the egg foo young. We have some pea shoots. And then for the egg foo young, I decided to make shrimp egg foo young because I had shrimp in the freezer. So we're going to do that. And last but not least, we have our eggs. And we can't do anything without our white rice. Now, whenever I make fried rice, you want the rice to be cold. Because I just go to the Chinese store. This cost me $3 for all this rice. That's fine. I'm going to use it. I have different types of Asian seasoning. I have the soy sauce. I have some mirin, which is sweet cooking rice seasoning. I have some teriyaki sauce. I have also some sesame oil, and then I also have some oyster sauce. Forgot about the oyster sauce. So the first thing that we're going to make is we're going to fry up the pork chops. So come along with me. Just thought I'd show you how I go about seasoning the pork chops. And again, I let them get to room temperature. The seasoning that I'm using on the pork chops, I have also placed in the flour. So we have the seasoned meat, and then we have the seasoned flour. And again, seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, which is almost gone, seasoning salt, and paprika. And we need some pepper. And I'm not going to use salt because I use the seasoning salt, and I don't want it to be salty. I want to over season with the powders, but I definitely do not want it to be salty. So now what we're going to do is we're going to dredge the pork chops in this flour mixture, which is right here. And I have my oil heating up, and it looks like it's about ready to go. Okay, while the pork chops are frying, I'm going to start preparing my vegetables for the vegetable fried rice. And what I have in here is like a half a cup of water and a little bouillon seasoning. And I am going to blanch my broccoli, and I'm going to blanch my asparagus. Blanching helps to keep the nutrients of the vegetables intact. And it doesn't overcook, so it still has a bite to it. So I could put it in with the rice and try to cook it, but this is my preferred way. So I'm gonna blanch the asparagus, I'm gonna blanch the broccoli, and then I am going to move on to the shrimp and prepare the shrimp. Because for the egg foo young, the shrimp already has to be cooked. Many, many, many different things going on in Beverly's Kitchen. Just stick with me, and we're gonna get it done together. And they look absolutely Amazing. And now what I've done is I poured out the grease, I left the drippings, and I have added some of the red onion. And I am cooking them until they're translucent, and then I'm going to take some of the flour mixture that we dipped the pork chops in to make the gravy. This is going to be the thickening agent, and it is already seasoned. So this is probably about, I don't know, maybe a quarter cup of flour. And the one thing about when you're adding flour to make gravy, you want to make sure that you give the flour enough time to cook out. If you don't, when you're tasting the gravy, guess what it's going to taste like? It's going to taste like uncooked flour. So we're going to avoid that. I also have my broccoli now sitting in an ice bath, because when you blanch your vegetables, cook them exactly for about 4 minutes, and then we blanch them in ice cold water, and then we take them out, and it preserves the color. But I'll be able to show you that in a minute. So I'm about to right now blanch our asparagus. So I have, again, about a half a cup of water and a little bit of bouillon, so I don't have to add any salt. And we're gonna set the timer for 4 minutes, and that's after the water has come to a boil. Then I put the vegetables in. So we're gonna continue, and we're gonna work on our gravy. And let me just wipe this off just a little bit. You know, on TV they don't show you all that, but you have to clean up as you go along. You have to. Okay, so now I'm gonna add my liquid, which is, I'm using beef broth. And we're just gonna use the entire can. And I'm just gonna let that come to a boil, and then I'm gonna add some other ingredients, maybe a little thyme, definitely some butter. Then I'm gonna taste it and see if it needs anything else. If it lacks flavor, then I'm gonna put a beef bouillon in there. So it's hard for me to tell you like what to do exactly, because I like to taste the food as I go along. So continue to come along with me. All right, so we have our gravy complete. So I used the drippings from the pork chops, and I cooked some onions till they were translucent. Then I added the flour. I let the flour cook, and then I put in a can of beef broth, and then I added just some different seasonings. I added a little bit of thyme. I have a bay leaf in there, some Worcestershire sauce, and some butter, and then always my mother's secret ingredient. My mother's secret ingredient was always, you put sugar in everything. And that right there, that is some good gravy. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to cook the shrimp for the egg foo young, and I'm going to put it aside. So I'm going to cook it in some butter, and I'm going to season it with some Old Bay. And it's not a lot of shrimp, because I'm only making 2 egg foo youngs. And the egg foo young is really just a fancy name for a Chinese omelet. And we're going to put some onions in it, and some soy sauce, and some sesame oil. And it's going to be really good, but we want to make sure that we cook the shrimp first. So for egg foo young, you could have chicken egg foo young, you could have vegetable egg foo young, whatever you would put in an omelet. And it's really, again, it's just a fancy name for an omelet, and we are going to make it very fancy today. Why? Because we are in Beverly's Kitchen. And you know what? That's what we do. We make dishes better than the restaurant. So you can do the same thing. All you have to do is just follow me on my YouTube channel, For the Love of Cooking Fridays. You could purchase my cookbook, For the Love of Cooking, and that is fortheloveofcooking.biz. Or you can just call me up. If you know me, I'll walk you through it. Or if you want to come over for a class to learn how to teach something specific, I've also done that. So, you know, and the kitchen is a place where I love to be. And I just believe that people should be doing what it is that they love. And this is definitely my love, definitely my passion. And as you can see, I'm just really serious about my gift. So let's continue this journey and let's get on to the fried rice. Okay, I'm ready to move on to making the fried rice. There's many ways that you can do that. Yes, I have a wok here and I could do everything in the wok, but that's not my choice. It hasn't worked out well for me because in Chinese cooking, everything cooks so quickly. So what I do is I cook everything individually and then I put it all together. So what I have here is I have my broccoli, and you can see, look at how beautiful and green that is because it's been blanched. It was cooked with a half a cup of water with just a little bit of chicken bouillon, and then I immerse it into ice water and it retains its color. So no matter how much I cook it, it's gonna stay that bright green. And it still has all its nutrients. And it still has a bite to it. Same thing for the asparagus, also blanched. I have here bean sprouts. You can't have anything Chinese without bean sprouts. I have a little bit of garlic here. I have some pea shoots. Again, tomatoes and some green onions. And we're gonna use all this for the vegetable fried rice. And the first thing that I'm gonna cook is I'm going to mix up these 3 eggs, and we're going to put a little bit of, let me show you, just a little bit of soy sauce. Just a teeny bit. And you know, soy sauce contains a lot of sodium, so we don't need any salt, but we're gonna add some pepper. And we're gonna mix that up and we're going to fry it up. Okay, so this is where we are. I have completed cooking the eggs, again in the wok. Did not take very long. So we have our shrimp and we have our eggs. We set those to the side. We know our pork chops are done with the gravy. We set that to the side. And now I am sauteing the rest of the red onions and some mushrooms because my other daughter is here with me, and she told me that she loves mushrooms, so we're gonna add those in there. Looks like a lot of pepper, but it's not. And we're gonna put a little salt, and we're gonna give these some time to become translucent, and then I'm gonna add some garlic. Some garlic is fresh garlic that I just used a grater, and I just grated it instead of trying to chop it up. I am sauteing this in butter and a little bit of olive oil. If you could smell this kitchen right now, it smells so good. When this garlic hits this, that's gonna be a done deal. It's gonna be over. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put in the garlic. And we're also going to put in our bean sprouts, all of them. Remembering that all these vegetables in here are for 2 things. It's for the egg foo young and it's for the vegetable fried rice. Whew, whoo child. That's what my daughter would say. Whoo child, if you could just smell it. Okay, now we are going to make the rice. So have some olive oil and some sesame seed oil. Sesame seed oil goes a long way. We have some mirin, which is cooking rice seasoning. But we're gonna wait to add that. Let me take this off because I don't want this to be too hot. Okay, I have this rice. I did not make it myself. It cost me $2.87 from the Chinese store up the street. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add my rice. And it's important that the rice be cold, and you don't want to use fresh rice. So you just don't want to make rice and then make fried rice. I mean, You can, but the texture is kind of different. The wok is designed so that the whole thing holds heat. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just smashing all the rice down so I can get a thin layer in order for the rice to really fry. Now we're gonna add some ingredients. First thing we're gonna add is some soy sauce. I can't tell you how much this is, maybe about 1/4 cup. Remember, soy sauce does have a lot of sodium in it. Here's another secret ingredient. Okay, so we're gonna add some of that spice. We are gonna add a little bit more of the sesame seed oil. I'm gonna pour it like this so I don't use too much. And we are also going to add some oyster sauce. All right, so I have placed the rice in here. I've added some soy sauce, some spices, and the rice is ready. Actually, let me just bring you over here so you can really just see. The rice is ready. Then we have the lineup of everything we're putting in. We have all of our vegetables here. So I'm not going to tell you that this was not a lot of work. But the key in dishes like this is the preparation. So as when I started this video, I had everything done. I had everything that I needed. Except it took me a minute to find one of my spices, but that's okay. But you get my point, right? So now we're going to add in all the vegetables. What do we have? So I took it off the fire. I have asparagus. I have broccoli. And I don't want to use it all because I wanted some for my egg fouillon. I have the scrambled eggs. Let me bring you just a little bit closer. Pretty soon I'm going to need some help in my kitchen. So here are our scrambled eggs that we mixed with a little bit of soy sauce, salt, pepper. It's ready. Yes, I am using the plate to clean off this one. We have our bean sprouts and our red onions, which we're going to save some of those for the egg fouillon. We have our mushrooms here, and now I'm just going to mix it all together. Going to mix it all together. I have other ingredients to add in, but we're going to do that after everything is all mixed. And I guess I should turn that off now. There you have it. How beautiful is that? I've added some tomatoes, and I didn't want them cooked. I've added some green onions, and we just gonna top it off with a little pea shoots, because presentation is everything. There you have it. Okay, we are down to the last meal, or the last dish, I should say, and that is going to be our egg fouillon. So I have 4 eggs here that I'm going to crack, and I keep all my eggshells for my vegetable garden. Help it to grow, gives it some nutrients. The difference between a regular omelet and egg fouillon is we don't add any cream or anything dairy for this. So I have my 4 eggs because I'm only making 2. One for me and one for my son-in-law, who will be here shortly. We're going to whisk these up, and we are going to add in the vegetables. We already have our bean sprouts and our red onions. We're going to add those in. we are going to add in our shrimp that's been sauteed in butter with a little bit of Old Bay. And we are going to add in our broccoli. So we're just going to mix all of that together. It looks like that. And we're just going to fry it up just like we would do a regular omelet, except we're not going to fold it over until it's done. We're going to put it in the pan. See, I have a pan here, about 8 inches. Have the butter on there. And we're going to cook it, and then we're just going to flip it over. And it's going to be oh so good. Oh, no. You got to put a little soy sauce. And almost forgot. Of course, we cannot leave out the sesame oil. And I guess I'm just about done with this jar. And it smells oh so good. Okay, so I am about to make the egg foo young. I have my butter here melted. And it is all warmed up. And I have my mixture here with the eggs with all the vegetables and the shrimp. And I'm going to take a cup of this mixture. And we're going to add it. And I'm going to let it cook. Then I'm going to flip it over. And we're going to see what happens. But this is what it looks like. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. Again, my name is Beverly Lucas, and you have just watched For the Love of Cooking Fridays. Please visit my YouTube channel, and when you visit, please make a comment. Not only make a comment, give me a thumbs up, but most of all, subscribe to my channel. I am still trying to reach 100 subscribers, and you could be the last one. Thank you. I appreciate you, and always remember to do what it is that you love to do.